The following has been brought to you by SJP World Media.
You're listening to In the Corner with Benny Mac. Unfiltered, uncensored, and unforgiving. Here's the man in the corner, Benny Mac.
Welcome back to In the Corner. Appreciate your patience. This episode is obviously coming late for those who follow the Twitter at In the Corner WWE. But to make up for my lateness, my tardiness, whatever you want to call it, coming all the way from the US of A, Mr. Tyler Peters joins me once again here on In the Corner. How's it going, buddy?
It's going great, Benny. Like always, it's always a fun time joining you. So thank you for having me on the program again.
Well, I figured because we were late, we've got to have yourself on to hopefully the people like listening to you. So hopefully we'll quell the worry.
I hope they do. I mean, I like listening to you. I think you've got people that enjoy what you say as well. And hey, I'm thrilled. I'll take a compliment when I can get it.
Yeah, definitely. Don't have to look a gift horse in the mouth, I think the saying is. How you been, buddy? It's been a while.
Doing great, and I love the saying with the horse also. But yeah, doing good, and can't complain. It's been some weird weather. I know we talked off air that you all have experienced some bizarre weather as well. But hey, I am doing good, so I can't complain. I'm here.
You had a tree take out a fence, didn't you? As I remember, right? It was.
Yes, the winds from last week. It was actually Friday during the evening, apparently, or maybe it was the Thursday the day before. But yeah, we had a tree that had fell on our fence. Luckily, nobody was hurt. There wasn't any further damage, and the fence can be fixed. And we took care of the tree thanks to a good old saw and craftsmanship, and we were able to take care of that problem. But it happens. The wind, Mother Nature can be a strong force.
Yeah, well, where I live, we've had snow, rain, snow, rain, snow. It's been sleety. And so, yeah, hopefully it warms up soon because all the prices are going up soon, apparently, for the whole fuel thing and everything. So,
very expensive. They're probably going to keep skyrocketing, unfortunately. I hope they go down. Let's try to be hopeful and positive they will.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, like you said, nobody was hurt, so that's good. And hopefully, hopefully the weather gets good over here very soon, and that'll save everybody's heating, definitely.
I hope so, too. I'm glad you are doing okay as well. Wanted to make sure I asked and did my part, return the favor as a good friend of the show.
I appreciate it. Well, this is episode 43 of In the Corner. Obviously, Tyler's joining me. We're going to chat some... what we're actually going to do, we're actually going to break down a little bit... Well, hang on. I forgot to press the button, Tyler. Oh, my God, I'm slacking.
You forgot.
There we go. We're going to break down Smackdown a little bit and Raw from this past week. We're going to go through the highlights, the best bits. So then there was a little bit there were some worse bits in there as well, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, there were.
But before we get there, I'm going to go to the lovely people at In the Corner on... the people on Twitter who commented on In the Corner... post this time. I was asking which Intercontinental Championship is your favourite and why. We had a couple of people message back, Tyler.
Let me talk to you.
Rob, UTT, Rob. So I actually put a picture of the current Intercontinental Championship up. The one from the sort of early 2000s, the oval shaped one. It started in about 98, I think, and then we've got the
I remember
the 88 sort of looking, Bret Hart days, Shawn Michaels, Mr. Perfect days as well. And I just wondered who's your what was your what everybody's favorite was. I mean, what was your favorite IC title for you? What's your, if you were going to be Intercontinental Champion, which one would you want to be having on your shoulder?
I'll tell you, I'm looking at them right now, Benny, and I like the third one, but I also like probably the one that's current too. I mean, it's kind of a toss-up because I like the one Gunther wears presently, but I must say I like that third picture. I don't. You told the years. I'm trying to recall because you just said it. What year that'd be from? It. So the thinner one kind of got more of the wide around it. Yeah, and it's Yeah, I really, digging that logo. And the words of Booker T, I can dig it.
Yeah, you can. I can dig it on here as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, don't get me wrong. When I first saw the brand new Intercontinental Championship, it didn't quite grab me at first, but actually over time I've got used to it. It was a bit like when the spinner belt came out for the WWE Championship. At first I was not a fan. After a while, it became sort of, I guess because it's been around long enough that I got used to it. Maybe not like
Yeah,
it, but I got
correct.
used to it. But I mean, I like that Gunther's got it at the moment. I think he's doing a great job with it, and I do like the belt. But my personal favorite I've always wanted to be, is the sort of the oval shaped one from like I think about when like Ken Shamrock, The Rock had it, Triple H in the early days, Jeff Hardy
That's a
had
classic.
it. So I like that one. There's nothing wrong with any other one. I just prefer that one. So it's again, it's all subjective, I guess, on belts, isn't it? I mean,
It is.
I didn't like the NXT belt, the first one with the big X in the middle. I get it, but I didn't like it. When they changed it to that newer one that they still have now, that Braun Breaker has, I do like that belt. I think that's a cool belt.
It's smooth. Yeah, it's very nice and pristine, and I get that because everybody's got their, preferences, and that's cool. That's what makes it subjective, like you were saying. So, right on. I'm with you. I think it's cool to do this. A great questions, great friendly debate to have. What title would you prefer? You like the best?
Yeah. Just something. Don't have to be serious on the whole wrestling thing all the time. Just have a bit of fun. Just see what people like, because it's always interesting to know people. I mean, and again, another bout I love, and I'm not saying it because I'm just from the UK, but the UK United Kingdom Championship. I loved it when they brought that out. I thought it was a great bout. The lions on it and everything. I thought it was absolutely a brilliant bout. And again, I don't know when NXT Europe's supposed to be launching in the next couple of months. I assume probably after Mania. That was the rumor, but we'll see what happens. But
yeah, I never know. I hope it does. I think everybody's anticipating what's next for that chapter concerning their story, since UK brand is no more. It's just becoming more Europe.
Yeah, which I think is a great opportunity for lots of men and women wrestlers to entertainers, whatever, to apply their craft, hopefully, and it gives more people jobs. Now, whether that's wrestlers or people that film it, edit it, make graphics, whatever, they're going to have somebody somewhat, to do these things. So it opens up hopefully a good a business. Hopefully it does well, is what I'm trying to get. I'm using my words, to be honest.
Yeah, everyone could have a role.
An opportunity.
That's exactly what you're saying, and it makes sense.
But yeah, we got a couple of comments on some of the bouts.
Let me talk to you.
UTT Rob says the 86-88 design, which is the, I believe that is the sort of Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon era. So that bout, but with the black background. I know Cody brought it back with the white strap back in about 2010 or 2011 ish. I think it was.
It had to be around those years
somewhere,
because that's right before he left.
The great Cy Powell, SJP Words on Twitter, out of those, white backed one, but that design with the black is great too. So again, he's going with early 90s as well, sort of Shawn and Brett's time and Razor. So he's gone for the same one. We do have one for my belt.
Can't blame him.
No, I do have one for mine.
Let me talk to you.
The Attitude and Ruthless Aggression era design. It looks perfect for a mid-card bout, says Danny, Scottish Gigolo. So again, it's all subjective. I mean, if there's one on there I've missed, I don't think I have in terms of design. I know the oval one initially was a lot smaller, and back in about 2007-ish, they brought it back, and they actually, because if you remember, the Intercontinental Championship got unified with the World Heavyweight title, but Eric Bischoff brought it back probably about 9 months later. And it was
I recall,
and it was a bigger oval than what it was from the original bout. But either way, I liked them. So again, there aren't many wrestling bouts, WWE bouts that I want to own. But those few I mentioned now, I'd like to own them. But, at £200 a piece, it might be.
I would too, but I just don't have the funds. If somebody wants to loan me money, maybe in my dreams, not reality, that can happen.
Well, if you want to support the SJP World Media Network, maybe we get a few bouts for sets designed for later
there
on.
You go.
At SJP World Media, you could do. But I thank you everybody.
Let me talk to you.
For as per usual, for messaging on Twitter and stuff. We appreciate it. I know it's a bit. I'm going to go behind the curtain a little bit here. I know I've spoke to you about it very quickly, Tyler, before, but we would like to do this show live, but in terms of work and stuff, I love to do it live on a Wednesday, at a certain time every Wednesday, so I know. But because of the way things have been going on in my own personal life with work and stuff, until I can settle on a day and go, right, every so-and-so day, that is the day we're going to go live within the corner, whether it be with yourself, Tyler, or just me, or both. Until we can...
I think it sounds fantastic. I'm looking forward to it, regardless of what it is, who's available. I know you'll be there, Benny. I think this is tremendous news.
But at the moment, we're not going to announce anything yet in terms of dates, because until I can lock in a day where I know I can either... But I could record a video and do it, but I want to be live so we can have that interaction.
Have that
hopefully.
feel.
Yeah, and have the interaction of people in the chat so they can put their points of view across on any particular subject that we're talking about, which obviously Raw Smackdown this week. So, but yeah, thank you very much for everybody for messaging.
Let me talk to you.
I know you got a chance to go back and have a look at SmackDown, Tyler, actually, because obviously a slight delay here. But I mean, what do you think? What do you think of SmackDown last week?
Well, it's hard not to talk about what is transpiring between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. To see this face to face was incredible. I mean, we all know how good the promos are going to be, but what I enjoyed, Benny, and I'll be interested to hear your take here in a little bit, is Roman Reigns deflected the confidence of Cody Rhodes. You know, Cody's always had a swagger in his own right, similar to Roman Reigns. And Roman was talking about how he's wanting to make Dusty proud, like, actually disrespecting Cody, saying, hey, listen, I used to have those conversations too when speaking of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, but he never mentioned you. And then Cody was responding by saying, this is really, it's a necessity now. I just don't have to finish writing my story and climb that mountain and dethrone the tribal chief. You've gave me even more motivation. So I'm not going to remember what they said verbatim. It's just all I can say or take away from this segment, the opening segment, by the way, of Friday Night Smackdown, which I was glad I watched it, was just breathtaking. I mean, here you got Cody, who's a wordsmith, and Roman Reigns, who equals him just in a different way. And what he was saying was true, Benny. He's main evented WrestleMania. He's done a lot of things while Cody's been away, but Cody spoke a lot of truth with talking about the Indies, AEW, in a sense, and that he's been able to kick the goalpost in. I love the analogies. This is getting really good, really fast, because we are getting closer to WrestleMania. So that makes me just get hyped, each week as it regards the big WrestleMania main event between Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, and the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns. So what did you think? Because I thought this was a brilliant segment.
It's one of those promos where, first off, I liked it. I agree with you 100%. Two, it's one of those promos where the more if you went back and watched it again, you'd pick up on a lot more how they're sort of layering the story already just by talking to each other. Another thing I took from it very quickly, because we obviously hear Paul Heyman a lot, but the fact that Roman, you take Roman 4 years ago, give or take, maybe 4.5 years ago, on the mic, not the best, has improved immensely. And obviously this run over the last couple of years is the heavyweight, Universal, and then into the Undisputed has been absolutely Roman Reigns' best work by far.
Yeah, it's been incredible.
And that's in terms of solo. I mean, I still love the Shield days. I love that whole group as it sort of evolved over time. But yeah, no, it's very clever on how I didn't know how Cody was going to respond after what Roman said, because Roman very subtly is basically sticking the pins to him and basically putting him down by bringing up Dusty. Dusty never mentioned you. Oh, yeah, I could, and then, have you ever competed for one of these? How about that one? And he goes, have you ever been in the main event of WrestleMania? No. And he's basically undermining Cody in that moment. But what I liked about it, like you said, was the way Cody came back. And although he looked like genuinely upset what he said about, and Dusty never mentioned you and stuff, it was very good the way Cody came back. And I'll relate this a bit later on to something else that happened on Raw this past week. But Yeah, an excellent segment, and to a part of me feel I understand they want to grab people to watch the show in the first hour. Sometimes I feel these moments should be at the end of the night, or at least somewhere in the middle. I don't, but I get why they do it, and they always seem to start with the Bloodline story stuff at the top of the show. I know it.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and I know it filters through now with Sammy and Jimmy and Solo and all that, but sometimes I feel like, should we be seeing the Undisputed Champion straight away? Maybe backstage, but in this case, I'm not going to moan about it because it worked, and it set the tone for SmackDown, didn't it? And overall, that show last Friday was really good. We had Solo Sikoa taking on Zayn.
We did.
Solo,
a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, Solo looking really good in the ring at the moment, to be fair. I know he's doing the whole Umaga, obviously that's their uncle, but doing that whole Samoan Spike and stuff. I get with Solo Sikoa, I get a sort of a Taz vibe from him to a degree, / Samoa Joe.
That's interesting.
Umaga,
I didn't put it together, those analogies, but I like those.
I mean, I'd love to see Solo versus Samoa Joe. If that ever would happen, I don't know how that would happen, if it ever would happen. but yeah, great segment. And do you know what? Again, we don't really grade them, do we, on this show? But it was a good opening segment. The response Cody got as well, because there's been a lot of fan stuff online saying, because everybody wanted to cheer Sami Zayn, I think a lot of people were kind of worried that maybe people would start booing Cody because of Sami.
Yeah, would turn on Cody.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it shouldn't have to be. You don't have to boo Cody if you like Sami, So
yeah, you can actually like them both. You can cheer, and it proved it because they don't have to worry. And I think that's just rumors that try to grab a headline. Is all it was.
As per usual,
both of them are over. Yeah, as they usually do. And we could tell that crowd in Washington was electric for Cody Rhodes. Come on, as soon as they heard there's more than one royal family. Let me back up. It's like the place just came alive.
Yeah, and I'm singing on my sofa. you can't help it.
Well, I know
you can't help it.
You can't help but sing it. It's kind of like people like to talk about Jericho's song, but come on, this Cody Rhodes. Now everybody's knowing the words, and what happens too, Benny, is you've got a lot of AEW fans that have now came over to WWE because of Cody. So not that you would have the crowd respond to Cody, that if they just watch WWE, but you got to remember what kind of fans he probably has. Some All Elite Wrestling supporters that also watch both products that are, they're going to be helping with that too. So you wonder if that didn't have alter things and kind of help. But I'm not taking anything away because it wouldn't matter. This guy he is over. So there's no question about that.
People want to see Cody win, don't they? So whether you're an AEW fan or not.
It's the comeback story. It's
definitely.
I've been away, you've missed me, and now I've returned, and I even suffered an injury, the pectoral muscle, but I am reemerged, and I'm ready. This is my moment. It's WrestleMania, the grandest stage of them all. My father couldn't win the title. Paul Heyman wants to make it personal. Now Roman Reigns thinks he's unbeatable. I'm not like everybody else. That's another thing too, Benny, in that promo. You said it. It set the tone, and I think that's why they did the opening segment. I didn't have a problem with it, and you didn't either. You said it worked. But I think that's why it's just they want to change it up. Make SmackDown feel a little bigger in the opening moments, because used to it would have Roman come out in the Bloodline, but now we get to see Cody.
I think
just
SmackDown has felt bigger than Raw up until I think both shows are really good at the moment, but I think SmackDown before this was classed as the bigger show because not only do we have Roman Reigns on the show, but we have the Undisputed Champion on the show. We rarely would be rarely seeing Roman on Raw, and obviously I've talked about the brand extension before, and should it happen? If they don't want it anymore, that's absolutely fine by me. I just wish they would pick a route, please. But if they're not going to go, you don't necessarily need the brand split. But if you're going to do it, I think have the Undisputed Champion appear on both shows, have one set of tag team, which is, so at the moment is the Usos, have those guys defend them on both shows, and then, but why haven't we if we're going to do that, you're going to have to unify the Women's Heavyweight Championship as well, and have but have like the Intercontinental Champion and the United States Champion is like their respective. That's SmackDown, that's Raw, but you can have everybody else intertwine to a degree because you've got the Undisputed Champion here, and then you've got the Tag Team Champions on SmackDown this week, and you've got the Women's Champion on Raw next week. So you can mix it up a little bit, but if you're only going to go one way, just do it. But they still say things like, he's a Raw superstar, she's a SmackDown. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, they do. They and pardon me, my voice for some reason going there, but it just that's the thing. It's just that's always been my issue when they started the whole draft creative. It's like, okay, then because remember when Randy Orton jumped the rail? Was he feuding with Lesnar that year or something? I don't know who it was, but he ended up showing up. And, that was cool for the moment, but then it gets convoluted because, like you're saying, you get confused. It's like, okay, if we're going to do an actual brand extension split, why aren't these superstars on their respective brand, Raw or SmackDown? Unless, like you pointed out, it's a men's championship that's, for a tag team, or it's, Intercontinental Championship could be on SmackDown or vice versa, Raw, United States. So I agree with a lot of what you were stating there, BenNy. It does. That's an issue I've always had with the draft scenario, or with having brands. Make him feel special.
Yeah.
That's why Roman Reigns has felt special.
And that's why SmackDown...
we haven't seen him on Raw.
Yeah, and that's why SmackDown has seemed to be the bigger show because of the Bloodline. And, when you see the Undisputed Champion, nowadays you get more boos and cheers for Roman after what happened at Rumble and, what's happened at Elimination Chamber and stuff. But overall, when Roman's going to be there, it's like when The Undertaker used to turn up, like the gong used to go off. Here we go, stuff's going down, so it has that feel to it. But yeah, now that they're sort of on each show now, and yet you continue the storyline with Sammy, Jay, Jimmy, Solo, Kevin Owens is in the fold now, Cody is kind of coming into the Bloodline sort of story as well now. And it filters down into all these other things, and I think matches have got better. Women's division, the matches are getting better. We've obviously, I think I said it on the last show when you weren't on, but me and you have obviously been fairly, not harsh, I suppose we have been a bit harsh in some cases, but the women's division hasn't grabbed us, has it? And but Rhea Ripley being the Royal Rumble winner and stuff like that.
It's felt like something's missing. I think that's what we've been discussing. But yeah, Rhea Ripley, I'm glad you brought her up because now we're seeing her compete on SmackDown because she's chasing Charlotte. So they're trying to at least give us some logic. But, if you're a casual fan, you're going, well, wait a minute, we've seen her on Raw. But then it would make sense because knowing she's got that WrestleMania match, actually the rematch. So she's trying to prove, hey, I'm going to dominate the competition you're used to facing or have an opportunity, Charlotte. So that's why, hey, Liv Morgan, I used to be friends with her, but not anymore because guess what? I'm chasing you. I want my title shot at my WrestleMania moment. So I'm the Eradicator. So that's what I'm here to do. And of course, she's got Dom and we've all, praised how great he's been and with
definitely.
Rhea. So yeah, I'm glad you brought her up. I'm a big proponent of Rhea Ripley. So much talent. And what's scary to me, BenNy, is the sky's not only the limit. I mean, the universe is hers to take. How about that?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. I see, again, we'll get onto our predictions later on in the month, obviously. But, the card's still filling up at the moment. So obviously, we know it's going to be Roman versus Cody at the moment. Obviously, there is talk about maybe a triple threat. Possibly. That's been on the cards. But it looks, the way it's meant to be going is KO and Sammy going for the tag titles. Based on what happened on Raw this week, that could be the way we're going now. But before we get there, I just want to quickly run through what else happened on SmackDown on Friday, and we'll get into Raw. Drew McIntyre challenged Gunther to an Intercontinental Championship match at WrestleMania, but Sheamus didn't like this, came out. Then LA Knight came out, then New Day, then Karrion Kross. Ultimately, it's meant to be all those guys I just mentioned in is it Fatal 5-Way?
I think so. You said it. It was Kofi, LA Knight, Sheamus.
Yeah.
And,
so 5. Yeah.
You ran it down.
Yeah.
You got it, man.
But I have read that Kofi's injured, so whether he's going to be on SmackDown, I don't know. So we'll see what happens with that. But whoever wins this will be challenging Gunther at Mania. Could we somehow see Sheamus, Drew, and Gunther at Mania? I know this is meant to be a number one contenders match for a singles match at Mania. But is there still a chance here we could probably see a triple threat? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I think we could. I think everybody, knowing Sheamus and Gunther at Clash of the Castle over there near where you were, Benny, in the UK, and knowing how great their rivalry's been, and to get Drew in the middle of that. Here's another thing, too, that I like where they're going with this, and it's the little subtleties that we love about storytelling when it pertains to wrestling, sports entertainment, etc. Is Drew McIntyre, Sheamus claimed he did him wrong. And to me, that had me scratch my head till I had to rewatch that segment. It looked like Drew may claymore him because at the end of the day, they may be friends, but we're talking WrestleMania. We're talking an Intercontinental title. So Who wants it more? Sure, we can be friends, but at the end of the day, it's about getting the money. It's about being the star. It's about becoming a champion of some description. And just the look that Drew had in his eyes. I mean, what were your thoughts on that? Because that to me was compelling.
Well, we could even be having a swerve here. Maybe Sheamus and Drew. I would say they're probably the favorites, but you can't discount really any of them. But I would say out of them, Karrion Kross is doing well. Had some great matches, great persona and everything. So maybe we don't even have Drew and Sheamus make it, and maybe we have a one-on-one at Mania between those two, and that relationship breaks down a little bit. Maybe there's several ways you could go with this. Obviously, we'll find out on SmackDown this Friday.
There's a lot of directions, and but I would like that. I would not mind to see Drew or Sheamus go at it.
I think Karrion Kross
LA Knight
and Gunther.
LA Knight versus Karrion Kross, and I don't mean to interrupt. That was another one that came to mind.
Well, LA Knight, I think, has got a great year ahead of him. Maybe not necessarily at WrestleMania this year, but I think from going forward, potentially, we're going to see a lot of LA Knight crowd respond to him. I find myself going, yeah, and I even find myself
Let me talk to you.
doing that kind of stuff. So, it's...
Yeah, let me talk to you. And I just want to say, I mean, he's got us responding. The guy knows how to connect to people. And I can't wait to see what his next feud's going to be. Maybe that is Gunther. Maybe it's LA Knight taking on Gunther.
Quite
Who
possibly,
knows? Like you said, there's so many other narratives you could look at it and go about this whole process.
There's still 2 nights. We've got some matches lined out already for Mania. We'll talk about more about that nearer the time. But we'll talk about a few of them as Raw and stuff. One of them we're going to talk about right now quickly is Bobby Lashley, Uncle Howdy trying to take out Bobby Lashley. Again, Bobby Lashley on SmackDown, which we haven't seen really. So
no, we haven't. What a surprise.
Maybe it's Cole said it must be WrestleMania season because Bobby Lashley's here. I don't know whether maybe on Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, after those 2 nights, maybe it comes out and says, right, we're going to have a draft now and it's going to be permanent. I don't know. Let's see what happens.
Good.
Or we are going to go down the route of we have one undisputed tag team, we have one undisputed heavyweight champion, unite the women's belts, and like I said, keep the US and the Intercontinental Championship on their respective shows and have the others just flip back and forth between Raw and SmackDown maybe. I don't care which way they go. They just need... I feel like this is just... It's something that irritates me, as you can tell, Tyler.
It's been the Achilles heel. It's really got the BenNy... I mean, it is, though. And I have to concur. I know we'll disagree. Don't worry. But I have to... let me just preference it by saying I feel where he's coming from. Boy, that didn't make any sense. I need to go back to school. But but I know what you're saying. There'll be a lot of good comedy on this program as well. But seeing Bobby Lashley, when Cole said that, I thought he was going to say, boy, you can tell Christmas has came early. It almost reminds you, I know he didn't mean it as it sounded, but it was kind of funny when you think about it. But it's true, WrestleMania season, that's the excuse, but it doesn't have to be WrestleMania season. We've seen stars from different brands show up NXT. I mean, my goodness, it's not like this is an epiphany. Just, oh, wow, the almighty, because he's feuding with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt's, we'll get into that once Raw comes in, but I think last week, and I know you touched on it, the video, Muscle Man Dance.
Yeah.
And that's why Bobby Lashley had to answer. And we get Uncle Howdy, his name's not Pouty.
But the two that at the moment for WrestleMania that I seem very much... I mean, again, I said it on last week's show. We've still got we got 3 weeks, give or take, until Mania. But
It's close to it.
The Brock and Omos, it could be interesting. How's Brock going to pick Omos up and all? But then we've seen, if you've watched wrestling long enough, we've seen Brock pick up the Big Show and F5 him. So I'm not really worried about that. That's not a thing I'm worried about.
Throwing around the ring like a ragdoll when the guy's been his heaviest, and Brock Lesnar has picked him up. So to your point, I don't have any doubt, just knowing how strong, the legitimacy of Brock Lesnar's strength, that he couldn't pick up Omos. He's just a good country boy, amateur wrestler, and the guy he's a beast. I mean, it's true. He is a beast.
I guarantee somebody will say during the match, he almost pick up Omos or almost or whatever. I guarantee that's going to be said. But
and it'll rhyme too much.
Yeah.
What did they say?
Yeah, I hope Pat McAfee is on commentary at Mania this year.
I hope so. I hope, if nothing else, that he's back. Nothing against anybody else, but there's just an energy when he gets in there. It's infectious.
Do you know what? I liked at Rumble. I liked the 3-man team of Cole, Corey, and Pat McAfee. I thought they did a great job personally. However you feel about Michael.
Chemistry was good considering McAfee's been away.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also love the fact, and I'm sure many people know this by now, but Michael Cole was not aware that Pat McAfee was there, so his reaction was like genuine. So it was really good.
There was no scripting that reaction.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that's good when you do stuff like that. Like we'll come on before we'll have a chat. How are you and all that kind of stuff. And we start talking a bit about wrestling. I'm like, look, we need to stop now so we can record it because I want the genuine reactions when we get into the show. Because if we do it now, it'll lose something when we get into the actual the recording session. So,
we'll ruin it if we're not careful.
Yeah. But what I was going to say was Bobby Lashley, Bray, Brock Lesnar, Omos. At the moment, I have no inkling to follow this story. There's nothing in there to make me go, I want to see these 4 men lock up in their singles matches at all. I don't know how you feel about it. I like Bray Wyatt, as you all know. I like Bobby Lashley. I like Lesnar. And actually, Omos has got potential. But at the moment, there was nothing there for me, Tyler, for me to go, oh, I can't wait for that match.
You know how much I'm looking forward to both those matches as much as I'm looking forward to another thunderstorm. That's about how
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, these athletes are talented. I'm taking nothing away when I say this. We're teasing, but it's true. That shows you the enthusiasm, the excitement has went from 100 down to about a 0. And you've got Bobby Lashley. I mean, even if you didn't have Bray Wyatt, you've got Brock Lesnar in the other match. But yet, here we are. I think the problem with me is that I tried to be a fan of Bray Wyatt's character, the Wyatt Six, the psychological warfare, and Uncle Howdy, and the Mountain Dew match put a bad taste of not Mountain Dew in my mouth with some kind of bad taste.
I know what you mean.
They got a lot of money though, so I can't blame them. The WWE, and I think a lot of people are thinking the laugh. It's probably got to be Bo Dallas, who's the actual real life brother.
Yeah, I think so.
Bray Wyatt. Yeah, I think we can conclude that it is. I'm happy for Bo Dallas, but this does not make me believe just because he's Uncle Howdy and wearing a mask. And
do you think with Bray? Do you think with Bray that there was a set plan, and maybe like Alexa Bliss having time off, if that is the case, which I assume it is? Do you think because of her time off? And maybe a few other things, maybe there was a set plan to put Bray on his trajectory leading into Mania, but things like she's had time off or he broke his finger. Do you think things have just slightly changed and maybe they're treading water a little bit with him until they can get to the point where they can do what they want to do with him? If that makes sense?
It's possible. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and that's why, hey, I like bouncing this conversation off, because you bring up stuff that I don't always think about, and that may be very well the case. But I just have to be real. You got Bobby Lashley, you got Brock Lesnar, you got some box office stars, and you can put Bray Wyatt in that, fit him in the slot due to merchandise. But even with the Almighty and Lesnar and Omos, and you got MVP, I'm a big fan of what MVP is able to bring to the table. It's just, I don't care if you bring out the zombies, the puppets, Sesame Street, you resurrect them. I don't know that it can save this. I'm at a loss for words. I'm even my thoughts.
Yeah.
It's normally I don't mind the kind of creepy horror stuff because I was into The Undertaker, Kane, Mankind, all those characters. And I realized we have to change with the times. I don't want to sound like an old critic. I just have to be honest. I'm not getting into the whole Bray Wyatt saga. But to your point, due to him having the finger injury and Alexa Bliss needing time off, that could have factored into why they had to slow down on the story a little bit. Of course, you want them to be patient anyways. I'm talking about the execution, other segments of it, moving parts per se. I don't know. It's just, are we going to get Uncle Howdy maybe in a handicap match? I mean, could that be plausible? I don't know. I hope not, but who knows after he got involved. I mean, he'll probably interfere because he's part of the extension of Wyatt's character. And I got to tell you, you touched on this. The news segment was atrocious. I must say, I'm sorry to all the Bray Wyatt fans. It was just, where's the secret at? Because I don't want to find out. I don't care what you tell me. It's just, I don't know. Somebody help me out. I'm going to have to make the tack because it's perplexing me to where I don't mind having to think, but not in this way. It's too much. I'm ready for it to move on to another chapter.
Yeah.
Get interesting again. Change it up. Do what you need to do. Because
maybe that's what
normally I have patience. Yeah.
I was just going to say maybe that's what they're trying to do, but it just feels very forced and very rushed. I know. Again, we've still got 3 weeks, give or take.
Yeah, we've got time, but I think that's the key word you just mentioned. It's forced. I think they're having to rush it too much.
Well, we'll find out as it goes over the next couple of weeks. Maybe we'll have Alexa Bliss return and join Bray, and maybe it'll make more sense by then. But what
I just want to fuss. I want to have an excuse to pick this apart. That's what it is.
But I think this, even though we've seen it a lot, and I say a lot, 3 times technically, but the story between Brock and Bobby makes more sense to be at Mania than let's chuck Brock with Omos and Bobby with Bray. It makes more sense for Brock and Bobby to go at it. I know Brock got disqualified at a Chamber and the match was a bit lackluster, but it moved the story on. So my logic was, okay, we're going to see this finally put to bed at WrestleMania between Brock and Bobby, but we've gone completely off the freaking beaten path and gone somewhere that I don't know where we're going.
It's opposite.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I mean,
nobody knows. You could travel to Mars and ask them, and they wouldn't be able to tell you if you found life up there. It's really getting ridiculous. I'm starting to wonder if Uncle Howdy's going to find a Wendy's or something, and maybe somebody there, a worker, can ask him, "Hey, what's your creative?" I don't know. I mean, that's how lost I am. It's not that bad. It's just me trying to be a little funny too, in the whole entirety of things or scheme of them. Anyways, it just, I don't know. The Uncle Howdy stuff, it was neat when it first started. I actually gave it a shot. And I know we're going to have to give it time. I'm all for that.
Yeah, but when you do stuff like Mountain Dew matches, mate, I understand your frustration completely.
Yeah,
the visual I thought was good. But
so next we're going to get Long John Silver's and more fish and chips, maybe for the UK fans. I don't know. It's driving me batty. I'm going to have to take a break. I mean, just from Bray Wyatt, and normally I can get into this stuff. But it's like, how many Muscle Man pigs can I be seeing? How many sock puppets? I can't even talk. It's got me all messed up. Jeez. I mean, it's just like I'm hallucinating on a bad pod dream. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, again, I don't think it's helped. It's made it worse, hasn't it, by them just sticking Bobby with Bray? I'm not saying the matches won't be good, but it's just, like I said, it makes more sense for Brock versus Bobby because of what we've had leading up to it. So I don't know.
Nobody knows. I don't know that they even know with respect to WWE or these characters. I think they've got an idea. I'm not going to sound stupid, but it seems a way, like you said, they're forcing everything. It's just like, what are we doing?
Again, we and you have been very vocal since Triple H took over. Everything's been all the stories have been coherent. Things have made sense. Things have been brought back that weren't quite finished and had new takes on them. MVP interacting with Bobby Lashley and all that kind of stuff. And we've talked about it over the many podcasts we've done together now. But this is out of left field. I don't know where it's come from, why they're doing it, and we are obviously based on it. We're both very perplexed on why we're seeing these matches advertised. Not to say, again, they might be good matches, but
They might surprise us. I
but
mean,
why?
you just never know.
But why should we care about them? And at the moment, there's nothing for either one of us, by the sounds of it, to care about either. But we want everybody to do well. We want good stories. We want good matches because we're wrestling fans.
We want everybody to do well, but we want there to be logic, or we can make some sense, even if it is crazy. But Triple H, we got to start being critical of him. I mean, if we're going to do Vince McMahon and everybody else, Tony Khan, we got to start being a little critical on Triple H. As much as I respect him, and he's great.
Yeah,
I've been hopeful. I mean, but this kind of thing, it takes a team effort. It's not all on him, because he's got a team. But you have to start looking in the mirror, and some of the blame or some of the critique, not necessarily blame, you have to start directing it toward the game.
Well, the rumor mill is spinning on the old Webosphere, as I like to say. Apparently, Vince McMahon may have something to do with these, and that's what fans are saying. Whether that's true, I have no idea. If Vince McMahon has something to do with it, then maybe that is, or maybe that's just an excuse so we don't blame Triple H. I don't know, but I'm sure once things hit the Webosphere a bit more, maybe we'll find out a bit more from more legit.
Sounds like a conspiracy. Sounds like somebody's trying to write a movie or inside WWE. It's like, okay, Vince is back. Okay, we want Omos and Brock Lesnar. Don't give us Bobby Lashley or Lesnar again. Okay, Bray, this doesn't make any sense. Go over here and challenge Bobby. There you go. And Uncle Howdy, you just jump in there and you get spine-bustered, attack him, and you start laughing for no reason. And it all makes sense. Somebody needs to write a book, on what not to do. But I don't seriously. I'm trying to be funny too. Yeah, to add some sincerity. I'm just perplexed. I don't know. I mean, could it be Vince interjecting some creative? I've read that rumor too. But you can't always blame Vince. As much as I know he made mistakes, he still did a lot of great too, kind of like anybody else. So you got to start pointing the fingers at other people. And I think that's what we're going to have to start doing, even when Vince is not backstage. And we'll get into that, on other shows. You got to start, placing the people. I don't want to say at fault, because that's a little harsh, but if you're going to critique and have opinions, don't mean they're right or wrong. You got to start going to the source, and it's not been Vince a lot of the times. I mean, at least as far as we know, this creative, but it could very well be from Triple H and his team. It does, just because Vince happened to be there. That's a good headline. Oh, Vince is back, so this has to be how it's going.
The only thing I will say,
I don't know,
in its defense, very quickly, before we move on, is that we've got SmackDown this Friday, and with the rest of the ones leading up to Mania, we have 7 episodes. So that's a SmackDown, a Raw, a SmackDown, a Raw, and so on and so forth. So we have 7 episodes of WWE mainstream TV to get through to progress both of these stories, to try and make some sort of sense, and maybe we'll, by the end of it, maybe by WrestleMania weekend, we might want to see them. Maybe by the end of WrestleMania weekend, maybe we still won't want to see them, but we'll just have to see what they can do in the next couple of, in the next 7 episodes of TV to make us want to see these matches. Because at the moment, I'm kind of like, that's about it, really.
And they're going to have to do a lot, and I'm not saying it can't be done. It's not impossible, but
no,
buddy, they need help.
They need to get their move on, don't they? If they want to make it make people go, yes, I want to see that. Or
I'm going to go to sleep or have to get some popcorn and a drink during the matches that you would think were their stars in the matches. I would never do that.
Yeah, if Brock Lesnar's coming out, you want to be watching it, don't you, regardless of what's happening. But unfortunately, you might be right there. Let's move on to Raw before Tyler bursts a vein in his neck or his head or whatever.
Yeah, I'm getting very, very mad. Come on.
Let's do this. Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus basically are challenging Damage Control at WrestleMania in a 6-woman tag team match. Now, I don't know if you heard my show last week. As much as I like Lita, she's a legend. The tag match was, yes, they won the titles from Damage Control. Becky Lynch and Lita beating, obviously, Dakota and Io. Why, though, if the end goal was to have a 6-man tag team match at WrestleMania? Now, if we were going to see Trish versus Bayley one-on-one and, Lita and Becky defend the titles at WrestleMania, that would make more sense to me. I don't see there was any... Again, I liked seeing it. The crowd responded well to it. It wasn't the most polished match in terms of... Lita's not been in the ring for a while.
It's been a while.
It looked very. There were moments where you can kind of see them telegraphing certain moves. I try not to pick on them that much because at the end of the day, they're still in the ring, putting their bodies on the line. But it just didn't grab me. But I don't understand. My logic would be Becky Lynch and Lita defend the titles at Mania against Damage Control for their rematch, and Trish Stratus. We could have had a bit more of Trish Stratus and Bayley. Bayley maybe poking fun at Trish. I know she said before in a past interaction, it only takes one moment for me not to be retired, which she said to Becky. Maybe we could have had a few more jabs from Bayley to Trish, rather than Trish coming and saying, wow, I'm coming out of retirement for a 6-woman match at Mania. I just think there was a lot more there that could have been done. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I feel like they rush these segments. I think, to your point, they're not allowing Bayley to get any kind of verbiage out, and even Trish. I mean, she's a Hall of Famer. You're not going to give her time. And my thing too is, as great as it is to see Lita and Trish and these Hall of Famers come back, it's cool. But also you kind of hurt your younger talent. As much as we say, oh, they're getting the rub, they're getting established. To me, I don't know that Damage Control needed to lose the belts. Now they may win them back at WrestleMania, so maybe that's the logic. Bayley, Trish, that's enticing as a program. Even Becky versus Trish.
Yeah,
I would like to see either Trish Stratus or Lita turn heel. At least add some twists, because we're seeing rumors there may be a lot of twists and turns with the women's division. Maybe with even Shayna Baszler, Ronda Rousey getting involved in the mix. Because I think the pitch was apparently or reportedly it was supposed to be Becky versus Ronda at WrestleMania. Who knows? That's all speculation.
Yeah.
But I think Dakota Kai and Io Sky, they're such the future of this company, and it's cool that they're getting this moment. I'm taking nothing away from Lita. I've got a lot of friends they were so ecstatic, and I got to admit, it was cool to see her.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
To see Trish Stratus, but you brought it up, Benny. It's just, this is starting to become too much of a trend when it's WrestleMania season.
Yeah. Like Goldberg coming back and beating The Fiend. I know that wasn't WrestleMania, but...
Yeah, yeah, and even though I was a big fan of Goldberg back in WCW and was happy to see him come back and appear, that doesn't mean he needed to beat The Fiend.
Yeah. So, no, I think we're both on the same page with that. I mean, this may change. Again, like I said, we have 7 episodes until Mania of regular WWE, Raw and SmackDowns. So, again, maybe... But, I mean, it's a good way to get Trish on the card. I get that. But why did Damage Control? I just still feel, we're fantasy booking here, but my logic was, let's do Becky, Lita versus, Io and Dakota, and then have Trish versus Bayley. A bit more of a nudge. Yeah, Trish, what they could have done. 7 episodes left, Tyler. Trish comes back, helps Lita, and Becky by making sure Bayley doesn't get involved. And then, great. Next week, Bayley comes out and has a problem with the fact that Trish Stratus put her hands on her, and you're nothing. You don't wrestle anymore. You don't even work here, and basically build it up. Maybe you got 2 weeks left. Then Trish finally gets to the point where maybe Bayley visits Trish's hometown or something. There's so many ways. We've seen it before. It could be done so much better. This is just rushed. And again, we have 7 episodes. Maybe it's availability on Trish and Lita, but.
It may be.
It could have been done a lot better than what it has been done.
What would be neat? Of course, this would probably be kind of overbooking it. But go back to, since we're going to fantasy book, think about if Trish could be that kind of secretive heel. But, she's acting like a babyface.
Yeah, what if, a swerve there.
What if she comes back and she tells Bayley, listen, you're making the matches for Damage Control. They're getting tired of it. And as great as you are, Bayley, and I even see you in the Hall of Fame, they've been communicating with me while I've been away.
Yeah.
And Lita, I know Lita better than anybody. And you may know Becky Lynch, but I also got to know a lot about the women's division. I spent some time also with NXT and these ladies. And I told them, if they ever needed a favor, I will be back.
Do you know what?
Guess what?
If that
you're not the leader of the Damage Control anymore. They have vetoed you out. We have voted, and now I'm the leader, and I'm going to challenge I want them to challenge Lita and Becky Lynch for the tag team titles, and I'm also going to face you in a match at WrestleMania. And if you can beat me, I may think about letting you back into the group. But if you don't and I win, then you're out. But we are going to have our match. But it's not going to be over control for damage control, but control, pardon me. That's already been decided. Ask Io Sky and Dakota Kai and Bayley, ask them, are you guys, is this real? And they start questioning her, or excuse me, it's the two ladies that question Bayley. And they admit, yes, we have been talking with Trish. I mean, even a swerve like that would be interesting. I don't know. Maybe I'm coming out of right field.
I think if you're going to do the swerve and have one of those legends be a heel, it has to be Trish. I know Lita was good as a heel, but Trish was like another level when she was a heel, if I remember rightly. So that's a good shout, man.
She was. No, I mean, I was just trying because it's fun to kind of hypothesize, and you brought up a great one too. I was trying to think of how could you still get the Bayley Trish match, but you could kind of make it a swerve where, hey, it's good to see you, Lita, but by the way, I'm not joining you and Becky. I'm actually over here with these girls.
If you want the full effect of it, or you want it to happen in the 6-woman match, and then have Trish turn on maybe on them. Again, that would be more interesting to me. But again, what actually happened and what's happening, that could still happen. So that's a bloody great shout. But the way they made Trish come out of retirement, it could just be so much better.
Never know, because like you say, there's still time. I mean, and there's been the rumors, so I'm kind of also using those. Not that they're always gospel, but you never can tell. Of course,
they're just rumors. But sometimes rumors have a smidgen of a grain of sugar to make it true. So you never know.
Yeah, I like the analogy, grain of sugar, and also knowing WWE, I would appreciate them swerving us, going, well, oh, you thought we were going this way. Fooled you.
Well, the swerve, I think I mentioned it. The swerve I think might happen will be with Cody and all that in Roman. Maybe this final test with Sami is actually happening right now. And yes, we can still have Sami and KO team up against the Usos, but conveniently the Usos win the tag titles and retain, at Mania. And then in the main event, we have KO gets involved, Sami gets involved because the Usos got involved. And then actually it turns out Sami Zayn has been in the pocket of the Bloodline all along, and actually this was his test for help Roman to get, to embed Sami to sort of keep these other people away from him to a degree, even though they've had matches and stuff. And that match, I just feel like there's a swerve coming, Now whether that is that, or maybe we're all hearing that The Rock isn't going to be at Mania, and that seems, almost like concrete at this point, but maybe Rock does come out at Mania after the match. I have no idea. Again, I feel there's a lot more to the Bloodline story than we're letting on, or they're letting on, obviously. And I tell you what, every week I want to watch it, and I want to watch SmackDown tomorrow and see what happens with Jay and Jimmy, what happened on Raw, which we'll talk about in a moment.
It makes you want to tune in.
Absolutely,
just like you're saying, after mentioning there, BenNy, and I'm with you. I think this has been easily one of the greater storylines. It's not just a WWE bias. I want to make sure people realize it. I mean, a lot of wrestling's had great storylines and great storytelling, as a matter of fact, but they have done this so well, and to think they're not even done, and it's came this far, it's been just unreal. So I'm with you. I think a lot of people, I can't wait to see what's over the horizon, so to speak.
I mean, if they are still going to do this brand stuff and have a brand extension, because obviously both shows are on separate networks, have your Money in the Bank ladder match, one for the Undisputed title, one for the Universal, and one for the WWE title, then, there could be a bad night coming for Roman if he's still champion, where, one cashes in after a big match, and then another one cashes in, so Roman could leave one event with neither title. Do you know what I mean? So if they could,
with none of the belts.
So that could happen. That is a way of splitting those belts up. Or somebody cashes in for the WWE Championship and wins it, then the guy who tries to cash in for the Universal right after, Roman with the help of the Bloodline, manages to keep hold of the Universal maybe. So Roman leaves with one but doesn't leave with the other. Who knows? Again, there's a lot of story to be told.
A lot of scenarios.
Of course there is. At the moment, as much
as that's what we love it.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, the way I would love to see Cody beat him. Don't get me wrong, for the storyline that's going with this, the real life aspect of it as well with Dusty. But we'll see what happens, and I can't wait. For the first time, I always enjoy WrestleMania. Don't get me wrong, but that match I cannot wait for. I'm literally like, come on, hurry up! I want to see this, and that hasn't happened to me for years. So.
No, I'm with you. I think a lot of us want to see that match, and I would be happy for Cody to win the match. But hey, as long as I've been a co-host or been a guest on your program, I've always said this. I think Cody probably will win one of the titles, if not both of them. And I like what you pointed out with your fantasy booking, Benny. However, I'm still under the impression, just for me, I wouldn't mind seeing Roman still win.
Yeah, I feel like we're all expecting Cody to win, and that's not to say he can't or shouldn't, but we're almost conditioned to, even though it's a 75%, 80% chance of the person who actually wins the Rumble winning the title in the men's division, just because we've seen it happen so many times, the person who wins the Rumble then goes on to win the title, doesn't mean it will happen, because there has been a few occasions where it hasn't. So I don't know. Again, we'll get there when we get there. But let's crack on.
We will.
I want to mention Chad Gable again. I think that dude's really good in the ring. He defeated Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin's not having a very good few weeks as it's going.
Yeah, Baron Corbin's had a rough patch, and that's putting it mildly.
Yeah.
Man, Chad Gable's a machine. We talked about it with the way he suplexes you. He's an Olympian. We could go on and on about the accolades of Chad Gable, but he also can do the comedic roles. I think I'm just as impressed. As much as I want to see a more vicious Chad Gable, I think he does that in the ring. I think what they're doing with the Maximum Male Models has been hilarious with Otis, and
the Maximum Male
him
Models,
get distracted. Yeah.
I'm actually, obviously I wasn't a fan on Smackdown. I'm not going to say I'm a fan now, but the stuff they're doing now is a lot better than what they were doing when they were on SmackDown. And I still don't like them. They're heels. I'm not supposed to, but this OT stuff and the stuff they're doing with Alpha Academy is actually quite good. It's quite entertaining, as you said. Now, in terms of Chad Gable being more aggressive, I don't know if you heard the show, but I did see a rumor apparently, and you can see possibly this happening now because of what's happening with Maximum Male Models and stuff, but apparently they are looking to book Chad Gable as a singles person. So this division could happen between Otis and Chad, maybe in the next month or so. So maybe we'll have an individual Chad Gable. Now, I've already sort of, put my guess in that if they do split, I feel that Otis would be the face and Chad would be the heel, even though it looks like Otis... Maybe Chad gets to the point where he says, look, you got to stop looking at this Maxine Dupree, and you can't blame him. But
No, you can't.
No, you can't blame him. But, maybe Chad goes too far and maybe slaps Otis, and maybe Otis snaps maybe. And then that will give...
That could be.
So, I mean, this is all rumors and what I've read, but, the way what's actually happening on TV between Otis and Maxine Dupree and the models and all that, and Chad, eventually Chad's going to be like, look, Otis, you need to actually listen to me. And I feel that we are going to have maybe a few between those two. Again, based on that rumor I read and what's happening on TV, I can see that happening.
Yeah, me as well. You never know what kind of twists and turns the creative's going to go. Chad Gable, to me, Otis can be a heel, but I think Chad Gable's more convincing. So I agree with you. I think he would fit a villainous role better. And we wanted the volume turned up. Maybe Otis still gets the volume turned up. It's just maybe a little bit more comedy where it's going to be Chad doing more of the serious stuff. But I think it's due. I think I've said it about the Street Profits. Some of these teams have enjoyed long runs. Even some of the experimental teams, such as Alpha Academy, have still enjoyed a fair amount of success, not comparing it to the Street Profits. But Chad Gable's due for a run. I'd like to see him challenge for a title or just be in a meaningful program. I mean, you don't always have to be in a long-standing feud. I mean, that's why we got Corbin against Gable. But yeah, Baron Corbin, I pretty much gave up on him. I think they have. Now, maybe he's with the Maximum Male Models. Maybe this, they kind of tease, but he didn't win. So that was kind of the gist of that. So forget I even went there. But Chad Gable, I think it's his time. He's
stuff
getting
that-
elevated. The guy can work, man. The
Hell
guy
yeah.
is just a
Hell yeah.
machine. He is like a little Kurt Angle. Even Kurt Angle said that. He's like a
I never
miniature
thought
version of me.
I never thought of it like that. A little Kurt Angle. Yeah, he's kind of a mini Kurt Angle. You know, I don't know, but yeah, I want to see a more of an aggressive streak in it, and I can see it happening in a sense of, you know, again, like I said, what's happening on TV, and again, they could have rushed that, but they're not. Look, so this is what I don't understand with the stuff we talked about earlier with Brock and Omos and, you know, Lashley and Bray. We've got other things panning out on TV week by week that are starting to make sense, and little Easter eggs in the background and stuff like stuff like Nikki Cross. So I don't understand this. So maybe this has been an order from the top to have those four men compete in these respective matches. I don't know. Again, 7 episodes of TV to go. Maybe it will make sense by the time we get there.
Yeah, hopefully, and it's probably just to fill time because you do have to have so many matches for TV, just like house show loops. I'm sure it has a lot to do with it. I mean, that's a great observation. Who knows? That may be why we see so much of Corbin with somebody else, so much of Gable, because they have to work underneath. But eventually, you like to see the underneath guys get elevated because they have to work up to a certain point. And Chad Gable, to me, is long overdue, and I think he's been adamant in interviews too, BenNy. I don't know if you've called it, where he said nothing against Vince McMahon, but with Triple H, this new regime, he has felt more confident that he will eventually be able to pass some of these stumbling blocks creatively and, you know, as far as matches. I mean, he's definitely the guy they go to. It's normally him or Ziggler, but even over Ziggler now, I hate to say it for Dolph. I mean, Chad is the guy.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, you know, very quickly, we'll move on to the matches very quickly because it was only a short match, but Nikki Cross got defeated by Piper Niven very quickly, the Loch Ness Slam in a very short match. Now, Nikki Cross saying very quickly, she says, I have no friends, and she's been following Candice LeRae around a bit. Again, we've not had really much influence or, much info on that, yet. When she said, I have no friends left, it got my brain working. Maybe Sanity will make an appearance. Maybe, you know, but I don't know. That was just my hopefulness, I think, because I think Sanity didn't get a fair shake and didn't have much going on, unfortunately. But in terms of Dolph Ziggler, Omos had a match, defeated Dolph Ziggler fairly quickly with that choke bomb, which looks impressive, don't get me wrong. But
it does. It's an impressive move.
But I was just thinking when you were talking about Baron Corbin, maybe we see Baron Corbin and Dolph do something. That could be quite interesting. I don't know, because they're both somewhat on TV still, but they're not exactly having good runs at the moment in terms of wins and losses. So I don't know, and I don't really understand the
Mustafa Ali.
Thank you, Mustafa Ali. That's still kind of going on in the background.
The whole coach of positivity, because apparently he's learned from his transgressions from Dolph, and now this is his way of cheering him on by seeing him get beat by Omos and going, "Oh, hey, you did a great job! Yeah, rah rah!" Yeah, I don't get that either. So, that's terrible. And Mustafa Ali's very innovative, talented guy.
He's amazing.
Again, we're not knocking on people. It's these characters, and you know, you've brought out a wild side of me. I need to bring out I should have a long time ago. Yeah, I've turned into something here talking about involving characters, but. When you said Piper Niven, it's called the Loch Ness. I was going to say, has she found the Loch Ness monster yet?
No, the Loch Ness Slam, as she calls it.
There you go. No, that was terrible, but I wanted to say it anyways.
Yeah.
Piper Niven, hey, I just wanted to go back to her. This is the way you book her, though. She's dominant. I mean, I know Nikki is so talented, but sometimes even the ones that are over, like Nikki, have to be squashed sometimes, and because you want to reestablish Piper Niven. So I think that was a good deal, having her go over Nikki. And the Sanity thing is intriguing, and this whole Candice LeRae stick. Maybe does Nikki Cross join Gargano and LeRae, or maybe she sets them up for maybe to be targets of Sanity, like you said, if they bring them back.
It's just the way she said, I have no friends left, you know, and obviously she survived the cull of the Sanity people and
Alexa Bliss.
So, you know, if that's what she's referring to, I took it as the way she said it and the way she's dressed at the moment is very reminiscent of the Sanity days to a degree. So That's how I looked at it, but again, I could be completely wrong. But then imagine at WrestleMania we have that sanity and that helicopter and that music kick in. It'd be amazing to see.
It'd be awesome to see them all out there. And Nikki Cross, let me just commend her on their character work, the gimmicks, having to go from the superhero back to the character which we all enjoy. Nothing against the ASH deal, but we all know this is the Nikki everybody came to love from NXT, and then seeing her be kind of psychotic and tease. But she's teasing different personalities.
Yeah.
But see, it's funny. People go, well, you knocked down Bray for doing the same thing. Yeah, but this is kind of, you can kind of see more reality based. And I think even though wrestling has its fictional stuff, because it is, I mean, I'm not going to sound crazy here, but Nikki Cross just does such a great job. I have not gave her enough credit lately. But when you really watch her mannerisms, her promo work, backstage, like you're saying, even if she's just backstage, not even in a promo, it's just, you're captivated. Your eyes follow her. So
but at least,
she's a special talent.
Yeah. But at least with Nikki Cross's breakdown, whatever you want to call it, the character that she is again now, or a variant of it, she's saying, I've got no friends left. Now you look at the last couple of years, she's had tag team partners that have turned on her. And people leave her, and people turn on her, and people walk away because they don't win. So her wanting to have a friend makes sense, and this sort of breakdown from this Nikki ASH, almost a superhero thing that she was doing, this breakdown to where she is now makes sense because she's been shunned by a lot of people for former tag team.
Yeah, they not accepted her.
So it makes more sense in terms of her character development that is why she's reverted to the way or a version of what she was before. So at least it makes sense. At least it does to me.
Yeah, that's the thing. It makes sense. Wow. One could imagine. We got to make sense. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do.
But yeah, Nikki Cross, she makes you feel empathy for her. Like you said, nobody accepts her. She's walking around like a puppy, a lost puppy with her tail. Yeah. It's just, but in a good way. That's a compliment. Everybody's going to think, well, what's he doing? Making fun of her, saying a joke? No, not at all. It's just, I'm just drawing the parallels. She needs a friend, like you're saying. That's why she's going to Candice LeRae. She's trying to find help because she's kind of been a loner.
Yeah, definitely.
So it makes you wonder what they're going to be setting up. I mean, yeah, it's just all kind of intriguing. So, that's why we're kind of doing some fantasy booking, or not necessarily fantasy booking, as we're just kind of trying to draw in the narratives.
A lot of it makes sense if it went that way. So, again, yeah. Anyway, Bobby Lashley delivered a message to Bray Wyatt, calling Wyatt out for sending Uncle Howdy to attack him, asking him, why can't you face me like a man, basically. That was basically it. Yeah, there was some new stuff. I don't know what's going on there. They're trying to progress it, but at the moment, again,
nobody knows.
Yeah, I don't think WWE know. That's what it feels like at the moment. And again, we've been quite critical on the women's division, but Bianca Belair versus Carmella was a really good match. Carmella teaming or being in the corner, having Chelsea Green in the corner, is a. Do you know what? Do it. That's a great heel team. Chelsea Green and Carmella together, I think, is a bloody great idea. And I can't wait to see if they do more with them.
If you think about it, Benny, they'd make a great pairing because both their characters are similar. Even though Carmella's not doing the Karen thing like Chelsea, both of them, not only are attractive, but they've got kind of that high class mentality. Like they're better than everybody else. So why not flaunt that? And they've got similar personalities. So I like that they're doing it, or at least teasing us. I think that should be a good tandem.
Asuka is looking good with this whole sort of fresh coat of paint, is what you say, as well. She came out, did the mist, but Carmella kind of ducked out of the way and allowing Green to take the full effect of the blue mist.
It was perfect. Carmella's just saying, hey, you want to team with me? You're going to have to take some mist.
Do you know what? If they do unify the women's unify the women's bouts together to do one world champion of all these things like we talked about earlier, if it ends up being Asuka versus Rhea Ripley, I'm happy with that. Asuka versus Charlotte, I'm not so much, but I get it would still be a good match. But at the moment, I think the top two, not disrespect to Bianca or Charlotte, But the top two women at the moment, those women I've mentioned, Bianca, Charlotte, Rhea, and Asuka, I think, are the top 4 at the moment in WWE Women's Division. And that's not taking anything away against any other talents, Liv Morgan especially. If you want to do top 5, Liv Morgan's in there as well. So
those stand out.
Definitely, 100%. And that's not taking anything away from anybody else. But those are... And I actually feel like Rhea Ripley and Charlotte match, I feel like even though Charlotte, she's a multi-time women's champion, she's the queen and all that, but I feel like the way I feel about that rivalry at the moment, I feel like Charlotte's the underdog to Rhea, even though she's the champion, weirdly.
Because Rhea's got so much of the momentum in
Absolutely,
her favor, where Charlotte's already had it. Like you said, she's got all the accolades. Rhea's got the accomplishments, being NXT Women's Champion, but now to, win the SmackDown Women's Championship. Now, she did win the Raw Women's title, didn't she?
Yeah. So,
Yeah, that's true. Because now she just needs to win the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, Rhea has just been a juggernaut, of just popularity. People knew she was going to be a star since they discovered her in Australia. And then coming over here to North America, she is just her career on this stage. No offense to her native land, but it just has. It has taken off. And you can see why. The work ethic, the time she spends in the gym, just her look is unique. And, she's an attractive lady, but she's added this darker dimension. She's evolved. It's really fascinating because I think the thing is, everybody's like, well, we kind of liked her back when she had long blonde hair. But if you remember, back when she first encountered Charlotte, she was saying, well, everybody was comparing me to Charlotte.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be different. So that made sense. That had some reality base to it. So and she's believable because she's legit. She's powerful. She could beat you up. She could beat up a lot of the men. So that's why you can buy her as a threat. And Charlotte too. So that's why that match, and they had history. And I'm with you. She belongs up there with the Biancas, with the Charlottes, with the Becky Lynches, and whoever else, and the Asukas. I think Asuka has won me over a lot because I like the Japanese talent, but seeing them in WWE has often been misrepresented is what I was saying. And Asuka, I do like the new version of her, kind of, still the same, but the darker Asuka. And I will say, Carmella deserves a lot of credit because I said this before she even returned. She had improved. Not saying I would know how to wrestle. She's definitely athletic, but her in-ring had got a lot better. Yeah. So let's give a lot of props to Carmella.
I meant to add Carmella to that list of women I put a minute ago. So yeah, again, there's been her and Chelsea Green together, I think would be amazing. But the matches she's put on, Carmella, I'm on about since she's been back, has been really good, better than really good. So I'm excited to see what happens going forward.
They've been solid, and you don't find yourself. This is going to sound terrible, Benny, but I don't find myself having to look at something else because it's not that they're not pretty, but I'm talking like in-ring talent. Yeah. And Carmella, her matches have delivered in that sense. I'm focused. I'm keen on what's going on.
Also, I think it's helped. Obviously, I know she has some personal stuff going on, but it's also helped that she hasn't been around for a while. So we've had time to
miss her.
So, and I think sometimes that does help. Well, we'll talk about the main event in a moment. Obviously, we got the whole Kevin Owens actually started the show with Solo Sikoa, which I didn't mention, but that was a good match until Jimmy got involved, and then Sammy tries to help to KO up, but KO's having none of it, which I like because I'm glad that KO hasn't gone, I forgive you for all the stuff you did to me while you were with the Bloodline.
That's nobody's going to say, oh yeah, you low blow me, then you haluva kick me, you betrayed me. I tried to offer my help. I may have deserved it, but most people are going to have that general reaction, even in real life. No, I don't want your help. I'm good. So that makes sense. So
yeah, that was a good match between Solo and KO, to be fair. And then obviously Jimmy gets involved, and then Zayn comes out and helps KO. Sammy gets a chair, almost hits Solo, almost hits Jimmy, but they both get away. And then, like I said, Sammy offers his hand to a KO, which KO rolls out the ring and says no thanks, goodbye. And they do have a a conversation backstage, and KO basically says what I've just said is, look, I'm not going to help you. I'm going to still try and take down the Bloodline, but I'm not going to help you. I don't want to be. I don't want to be around you. When he said I'm done with you, I meant it. I'm done with you. Obviously, way we think it's going to go, eventually that's going to come to them two teaming up to essentially take on the Usos. Again, we'll see what happens. That is the general consensus, though, and it makes sense. To be fair, something that we'll move on quickly. Just time is getting away from us here, Tyler.
Okay.
Logan Paul makes his appearance on Raw. I played the clip at the beginning of last week's show. I love that segment last week with Seth and Miz and the phone call and bye-bye, bitch. It was all... Weirdly, I didn't think... although I did mention it, but I'm actually quite excited to see Seth versus Logan, which I never thought I would say. Because of what Logan Paul's managed to do since he's been with WWE. Not as the person, I don't like him, but as the wrestler, he's done pretty well. And also, Seth Rollins can pretty much put on a 10-star match with anybody, I think. So, in theory, should be a hell of a match.
It should be a great match. I think it'll over-deliver. You said it, what Logan Paul's been able to, with his managing. And he doesn't have to be there every week. He doesn't need to be there every week or every month. The guy, when it's WrestleMania or some big event, that's the guy you want to phone. It's Logan Paul. Because we talked about it ad nauseum about certain celebrities when they respect the business, they take the time, they try to learn the craft. It pays off and it shows. And people may want to still boo them, but they can respect and appreciate and cheer on the effort even in secret. And that's a prime example, illustration, however, what we have with Logan Paul and Seth Rollins. You're so correct. You're not going to get a bad match out of. He's the architect for a reason. I mean, the guy's done it all, even outside WWE, but especially what he's been able to accomplish his time within that system. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that match, and I do like the little nuances, insulting each other with a phone, and then. I mean, what do you think of this whole segment? The Miz is getting involved because he was the reason, Logan Paul did get in, at least in the storylines with WWE. So it's interesting that he's getting involved a little bit, but we're still getting Logan Paul and Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is probably echoing a lot of the words that so many that are critical of the Paul brothers and Logan Paul himself saying, you don't belong here. So why not just tie that into the angle? So I'm enjoying that part of it.
Yeah, I am as well. And I will say, I think I said it on last week's show, but this potentially could be one of the matches of whatever night it's on. And do you know what? If it is that good, I could almost see, probably not, but I could almost see a Logan Paul, Seth Rollins handshake to go, that was good shit, that was a good match. So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so sportsmanship after
Yeah. So that could change the focus a little bit on Logan if he has a killer match with Seth Rollins to the point where... Because he had a great match against Roman in Saudi, to be fair.
Oh, he did. Him and Roman had a great match, and we talked about him. Him and Miz had a great match at SummerSlam.
Of course, yeah. So, I mean, I don't really get the whole Miz... Maybe that's how you get him involved, but Miz being the host of WrestleMania, okay... whatever. But
just to get him plugged in, I guess, because he didn't have a match. So we're like, Miz, oh yeah, you can host.
Which, people love to hate him, so maybe somebody will come out, maybe a Stone Cold will come out and stun him because he sucks or something, and that's your...
And he'll get the big reaction.
And that's your reaction.
You'll hear the glass shatter.
Exactly. Yeah. So, again, I'm pre-booking this, but, something's going to happen to Miz, isn't it, I feel?
I feel like it's not going to be a good night for him at the office.
He wants it to be. He almost wants it to be because the Miz's character, that actor who's like a C actor that thinks he's an A+ actor,
He just deserves a beating.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And I like the Miz, to be fair. I've been a fan of the Miz for a while, so I loved it when he was WWE champion the first time and everybody hated it. I love the fact that people hated it. So that's just
I've grown to respect his work ethic because I've heard the time he takes to learn his verbiage and the scripts. You can say what you want to about how it's scripted. Man, Miz puts in a lot of the character work, and I mean, he's proved to be a talented guy. Like you say, he was a champion. He's won Money in the Bank. He's accomplished a lot, and he's been so successful. So whether you like the man or not, you grow not to like his character, and that's been effective. So I have actually been one of those guys that has grown to appreciate him later. And so I get what all the fuss is when you're talking about The Miz.
Yeah, but even if, say, for argument's sake, Miz is reading a script or memorizing a script, or I think he might be at the point where, right, Miz, I need you to hit point A, B, C, and D. He goes, okay, cool.
Sure.
But even if he is reading the script, I can't tell that he's reading it. Whereas some wrestlers come out, male and female, then they don't. You can kind of tell that they're trying to remember their lines. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah,
you can tell it's not natural. Where Miz, he can memorize all these things. No, you're right. I mean, I'm just saying he takes that much time and dedication, and it shows.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no. Do you know what? I'm looking forward to try that again. Logan Paul and Seth. I think it's going to be interesting the next couple of weeks of what they say to each other.
Yeah, me as well.
And I, regardless of what happens, I think now I want to see this match, and obviously the stunt. I know we've seen it before from Ricochet, but Logan Paul doing that stunt at Rumble with a mid-air collision. Wow! Again, so I don't necessarily like the guy, but like what he can do in the ring so far, I can't help but be impressed. As much as it pains me in my little toe to say that, but it's just
as much as you're in agony to have to actually confess that Logan Paul is actually a good wrestler.
It's pretty good, yeah. He can follow instructions, definitely. And again, I think hopefully if he carries on the way he's going, he's a natural heel because people hate him for what he's does. He's a YouTuber, blah, 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 whatever. He's a natural heel. But, again, I think one of my favorite matches, and this is getting to the point, but one of my favorite matches at WrestleMania, I think I'm not going to say it's my favorite match of all time, but one of my favorite matches ever is Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 19. Bloody great match.
It's just a fantastic match.
And I feel like we could see, not necessarily, I'm not saying move for move, but we could see a similar type of match, I believe, from Logan and Seth. I mean, I'll be disappointed if it isn't now, because again, as I already said, Seth can put on damn good matches, and I feel with again, if Seth is the veteran, which he is, with Logan Paul, aka the rookie, he can lead the match, and it should be good. As far as who wins, we'll get into that on the week of Mania, but at the moment, I have no idea. I'm not going to lie.
Nobody can predict it right now. Even before Mania, it's going to be difficult. But I concur. I think it's going to be a show stealer. I mean, you got Seth Rollins. That's all you need. And Logan Paul, you just said, he could follow enough instructions and he can get the heat. And Seth is, with psychology and his moveset and the way he can lay out and execute a story in ring, is second to none. So I think it's going to be a barn burner.
I hope so. Now that I've picked it up. Just before we get to the main event, Johnny Gargano actually defeated Finn Balor this week, thanks to the You Think You Know Me music coming on and Edge getting involved. And Edge has called out Finn to face him in the ring one-on-one next week. And basically said, he did spear Balor and said this isn't over. By what I can tell, I think we've already said this before, Tyler, even beforehand, that we were under the impression that Edge and Finn one more time at Mania this year. And it looks like that is what's going to happen. So, I mean, in terms of what type of match, I have no idea yet.
I have no earthly idea. I think it is fitting just to know how the storyline, and I would think the storyline's got to finally have a close. I mean, this has got to be it with Finn and Edge. I mean, it could continue. I'm just thinking, could this be another chapter written between the Rated R superstar and Finn Balor and the whole Judgment Day ordeal and Beth Phoenix? Because Beth has got her just due. Now, Beth and Rhea would still be a great singles match.
I think so, yeah.
So it may not be completely through, but I think this is going to help it get finished, like all the parts of the story. So I think it's going to be a great match. I mean, Edge can still go, obviously, and then you got Finn Balor, one of the greats like a Seth Rollins or AJ Styles that has been heralded as one of the top stars internationally, not just in WWE, but everywhere.
Yeah, 100%. Before we get to the main event, one last thing I want to talk about. What did you think of John Cena and the Austin Theory confrontation before I say what I say?
I thought it was great. Probably one of the better John Cena promos since he's came back, even when he came back to last year around this time. Austin Theory's talented. I felt kind of bad for him because, man, Cena, this was Cena in his A game. This was his wheelhouse. It was in Boston, his home area. It didn't matter where they were. Cena just was calling him out. The whole line about, well, at least my matches don't get the crowd noise by 10 was, wow, that was quite a line. And then, just to see John Cena get emotional, embracing Cody and Austin Theory, you don't want to bury the guy, but at the same time, he's got to be put in his place. And I like that. Hey, the match wasn't that simple. That John Cena asked the people, and he's like, "Hey, that's a no at first, but you brought the people into it, so that was a nice touch." And to me, Austin Theory said his piece, but John Cena was on fire. I mean, even when Theory came back with the bald spot, I think that's maybe when he talked about the crowd noise and some other things. And when he was questioning his manhood and actually said, "Hey, it looks like you're missing something." I'm kind of just paraphrasing all this because I watched it, folks, but I can't remember it all. It was, and boy, I got excited there, a little bit different pitch in my voice because I was excited. It was a great segment. It was just, it did what it needed to do. Now, people could question whether it did bury Theory. It may have, but I got to tell you, this was Cena back kind of during the ruthless aggression. Well, past that, where he was getting mature in his career concerning promos. I thought this was just a master class.
I mean, I get where you're coming from. I think again, it was in his hometown. Maybe it's John Cena night. Let's do it in John Cena. We got, like I said, we have 7 episodes of overall TV. Yeah, I feel like the why draw attention to the crowd? I know they did it, and I know they did it especially in the Thunderdome era. But why bring the noise down? I think that's wrong because telling him he's not ready was a bit like, well, my biggest gripe with it actually is that Theory should have said something back or done something, or at least attempted to stand there and just take this beating verbally from Cena. Felt a little bit too much. Maybe Cena got excited and went on off a bit more than a rant than he should have. I don't know.
He was pumped up.
He was definitely, and this is home state or whatever. But the biggest thing was by saying, if you beat me, you lose. If I beat you, you lose. Doesn't make any sense. Now, the verbiage that was used for me, and I'm going to put it in now, and this isn't going to change, I don't think, and this is unprecedented for this show. I'm actually going to put a prediction in now. Theory, not the next night on Raw. Theory needs to beat Cena at WrestleMania. 100% needs to beat Cena now. After that SmackDown, as you pointed out, on Raw, no pun intended, the SmackDown bit, Theory needs to beat Cena at WrestleMania now to keep himself established, because he's had that bullshit with the Money in the Bank not long ago. He rebuilt himself back up. Don't go fickle yourself. That's where that started. So for me, Theory needs to beat Cena now. It doesn't have to be clean, but he needs to beat Cena at WrestleMania. Not lose the title and then Cena lose it the next night on Raw. He needs to beat Cena. And also, next week, he should have done it this week, but next week he needs to come out on that mic and absolutely destroy Cena.
Annihilate.
Destroy Cena. Almost like a Rock Cena, rivalry that we had a few years ago, more than a few years ago now. That year long of back and forth between Cena and Rock.
That was great.
But I just feel like they went a bit too. I just think they went a bit too heavy, and it made Theory. Maybe it's because Theory said Cena was his hero, so maybe he was stunned verbally because, oh my god, this is my hero, and he doesn't like me. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe they could go with that. But for me, Theory needs to beat Cena now, and I think Theory should beat Cena at WrestleMania. And that will not change. So we've got one prediction in way in before Mania
your prediction. Well, I can see where you're going with it, with having the prediction, because I think with Cena, coming back. He did the same thing, just on a different level with Roman Reigns back at SummerSlam of 2021. He did that. He came back to let Roman get the win over him. So I think this he had to verbally abuse him a little bit, and why Theory, I get why he was there stunned, because he did emulate a lot of the mannerisms of Cena. What was it, the sign that Cena pointed at, that you're nothing but a John Cena wannabe or something? Because kind of placating on that whole belief that Cena was the reason for, pardon me, Theory getting into the business. I think you can tell that Theory is one of the guys, because to me, for Cena to do this much on the mic and it be such a, we all know Cena can deliver on promos anyways. The guy can talk, and not alone his talent in the ring. But it just shows me that they're definitely looking to make Theory not just one of the guys, but the guy. I mean, you could tell already, not just with the United States title, but the programs he had, that he is the future. And, I see where you're going with it, with Theory. I'm not going to say my prediction quite yet, because like you said, there's still time. There's a few weeks, but I respect your passion. I get where you're coming from. I just have to disagree and kind of step back, but I do see why they put a lot of importance, pardon me, and value on Theory, because he is that guy. I think that we all know that. We all can see it.
Potentially, Theory could be around for the next 20, 30 years. Cena, not so much. And Cena, no, I don't dislike Cena. I got a lot, what he did for the business in his era. Watched most of it, if not all of it, in terms of main roster at least anyway. Was really good. The wrapping John Cena into the, to where he got to, hustle, loyalty, respect and stuff. But for me, it's the same with Bray Wyatt back at Mania 30, and I will always say this: Bray Wyatt should have beat Cena at WrestleMania 30. The way the momentum Bray Wyatt had at the time, it wouldn't have hurt Cena. So I don't understand it. So my worry is, even though I'm predicting Theory to win and should win, because I'm very passionate about it, more than likely, are we going to have Cena break Ric Flair's record holding the US title and possibly drop it the next night on Raw? Which is, as long as Theory, I would rather Theory beat him at Mania than the next night on Raw, unless Cena is going to be around for a while, which I don't think he's going to be.
I don't know, with the movies and everything.
Exactly.
I don't see that either. I wouldn't mind that scenario if he were to beat Theory, that Theory can just win it back. So you're not really hurting Theory too much, even though a win at WrestleMania would be pretty big.
A lot more people
get on Cena.
A lot more people watch WrestleMania than necessarily Raw. So by having Theory win at Mania would be a career-making moment. It would mean a lot more. No disrespect to win it back. Yeah, okay, you beat Cena the next night on Raw. I get it. You're the US champion again, but it would mean a lot more at Mania for my liking. But it is.
No, it would. It would have, because you would have a lot more of the casual or non-wrestling fans even tune into WrestleMania. So he would get more of that audience as well. So it would resonate. So I could see him beating Cena though at Mania, but I just don't want to give my prediction just yet. But I respect that you're already that promo from Cena did make you want to go with Theory, and I get it, because he obliterated the guy. But I think with next week, Theory's got to have time to counterpoint it to where he just cuts just equally just a great promo, so he can respond to Cena.
One last thing on this before we move on to the main event. This is is similar to when Rock turned up and said, "I'm going to be, I'm going to face you at WrestleMania." But Cena was there every week having matches, live shows, at this time because he was full time then. But now we've got Cena coming in as the part timer, being the big I am to a young guy, saying, you're not ready, and you're not. And he shouldn't be saying you're not ready to him and stuff. I know, but my logic with this is by not burying. So I don't like that term. By putting down Theory the way he did this past week on Raw. Because then everybody goes, yep, Cena's going to beat him, hands down. He's going to annihilate Theory. He's going to break Ric Flair's record, be US champion, blah, blah, blah. If Theory beats him after Cena's made such a big deal about him not being ready, that puts Theory over to no end for me. And this is where I feel like Theory has to win at WrestleMania. So I will firmly be in Theory's corner at Mania. which I never thought I would say, but he's there every week.
But it's turned you.
It's
Thanks
turned
to
me.
John Cena coming back, it's homecoming.
Hey,
it has
I
turned
liked
to
The
Benny
Rock.
Mac.
I liked The Rock when he came back, but I was pissed off because Cena was there every week, putting his work in. And yeah, Cena's gone on and done really well, and Peacemaker and all that kind of stuff. But like you said earlier about people coming in and taking spots, Goldberg winning the title against Fiend and all that kind of stuff. Theory's been there from NXT upwards. He's on all the house shows and stuff, and he's doing it. He's plying his trade. So I get it, but I want Theory to win because he's been there week in and week out, grinding and putting the hours in. Yes, Cena did that for 15 years plus, so I get it. But from a fan's point of view, from my point of view, I want Theory to win. And again, the way he put down Theory this past week on Raw, everybody's going to think, yeah, Cena's going to beat him in maybe not record time, but he's going to beat Theory no problem. Okay, John Cena fans, what happens if Theory beats Cena? Which is what I want to happen. So yeah, let's move on before I lose my temper.
Yeah, it could be record. Before it now you're getting hot.
I am, man. That's the one thing that really got me rolled up this week, and that hasn't happened for a long time.
And I actually went at it more positive.
Yeah, we've all flipped. I've gone to the heel, you've gone to face here, I guess.
Yeah, we flipped the script. That's what's cool about this show.
Man.
You never know.
I'll put a poll up, but I'm going to put a poll up on at In the Corner WWE on Twitter once we finish recording, and it will be available as you listen to this show right now. But who do you think should win at WrestleMania between Theory and John Cena? And I'm going to put that up, and I'm going to make that so it lasts for like a week. So we'll have the results next week here on the show, basically. Okay, we'll find out. Anyway, main event: Jimmy Uso versus Sami Zayn. Was Solo Sikoa outside? I believe he was, wasn't he? As well.
Yeah, he was.
He was. Again, I can't speak. The match was pretty good. They weren't given a great deal of time in terms of advert breaks and stuff like that. In terms of actually,
it was very short.
Yes, it was, but good match. Jey Uso. This is what threw me. This is again subtle things by WWE here. Right, we got Jimmy Uso in the ring with the We the Ones t-shirt on, which is black. We then have Jey Uso turn up in a red t-shirt which says We the Ones. Stands on the thing, stands on the announce table, looks conflicted. The distraction from Jimmy sort of smiles at his brother, goes to sort of go at Sammy. Sammy reverses into a roll up into was it a sunset flip? I think into a.
I think so.
1, 2, 3. Sammy rolls up the ring. Jimmy looks very despondent. Jay gets in. I can't read Jay at all. I can't tell if he's angry, upset, sad, all of the above. I don't know about you. I couldn't read his facial things at all. It looked like he then turned his back on his brother, walked out the ring, started talking to Sammy. Then there was a hug, a massive pop for this. And then you hear Sammy, I don't know if you could hear it, but Sammy audibly is like, "It's not too late, Jimmy. It's not too late." And they're all sort of hugging. And all of a sudden, Jay super kicks Sammy in the face and says, "You think I'm going to turn on my family or whatever?" And then they put a beating on Sami Zayn. Weirdly, I actually expected KO here, Tyler, but we had Cody Rhodes come out.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, but Cody, that was interesting. I loved it. I'm like you. It's I have to agree, Benny. It was hard to read Jay's face, which was a great thing. It only inserted another layer, another twist and turn, if you will, of this Bloodline saga. And Jey Uso, I mean, the way they milked it to the end, like you said, before the super kick to Sami Zayn, he almost made you believe as time was drawing near to the program ending, going off the air, that, hey, Jey Uso is aligned with Sami Zayn. He's going to help take down his own family. And then the super kick happens. And then that pop, that reaction from the crowd in Boston was great, because they were like us. Even if they suspected anything, I mean, Jey Uso and the whole crew has done such a splendid job. I mean, it really is good acting. I mean, a lot of people think he needs some kind of award, because these guys, the way they're doing the psychology, it's been not only a master class in promos, but it's been a masterful session regarding the body language and the movements, and it's been we've already said it. It's been one of the more intricate storylines in wrestling history, at least in the modern era, for quite some time, and we just keep seeing things unfold, and just when we think we got it figured out, they pull us back in enough for something else to happen. So I enjoyed it. Now would I've rather it happen on SmackDown, but I had to remember. I know I told you that before. I have to recall that, hey, these guys are the tag team champions. They're having to defend it across brands. And with KO being on Raw and Cody Rhodes, I can understand why not everything needs to be on SmackDown. You do have to pull the trigger on Raw sometimes. So that I'll correct myself there. But I enjoyed it, man. It was just great TV. I don't care if you're not a wrestling fan. You would be really interested in this kind of story.
At some point, there's going to be a documentary come out, isn't there, of the Bloodline story from start to finish? I think
it's got to be.
And then I'll tell you what, we lived it, or I've lived most of it. I probably missed the first couple of months, but overall, at least I've seen clips and stuff and gone back to how it started. Excuse me, my voice is going now.
Yeah, mine was too. I think we're getting excited. We get a little more mad this show, and that's what it is. I mean, it's unbelievable.
But yeah, it's been really good. But I honestly couldn't tell where Jay was going. Then it was the hug. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. And then super kick. Oh, that's gone a different. That's gone a different way.
That's not how we envision this. This going.
As I said to you off air, and I didn't want to say it until we came back on, obviously. But the whole the fact that Roman's trying to blame Jimmy for the whole Jay thing. Is this another swerve for Jay to get back in the bloodline to make sure his brother doesn't cop a beating, maybe? I don't know. There's so many layers to this.
Yeah, you never know. There's so many directions. You said it in other words, a relative term, layers. I mean, I think that's the thing. Nobody can, when you think you've got the beat of the story, they turn it around on you, and I think that's tremendous.
I would not be annoyed if Roman, like we said earlier, I would not be annoyed if Roman left Mania with the championship. So, at all. And if we get some sort of swerve from Sami, I could also see that happening. So, it's, I don't know. It's a hard one, but
could Sami Zayn actually turn back on KO? I mean, I know people don't want to think of it, but you put this into motion too, BenNy. I got to credit you, of course. What if? Maybe Sami Zayn's trying to play into the emotions of KO, even though he's backing away from it. Maybe they win long enough to be tag team champions, and then, Sami does something to cost them, and then that's just his excuse to rejoin the Bloodline, or maybe just join the Usos. I don't know.
Well, the way you could do it is we still have KO Sami team up, but Usos retain, and then we have, like I said earlier, we have KO comes out to fight off Jimmy and Jay when they get involved in the Cody Roman match, maybe. Then Sami comes out last as if he's going to be like the help KO, but actually puts himself in a position where he actually helps Roman. And like you said, we were mentioning this final test for Rumble, but we don't know what it was. We assumed it was maybe hit KO with a chair, but we don't know what the actual final test was because nobody told us. So there's that still little bit of nugget up here that's still hanging over me going, is this a ruse? Is this a swerve? But you know what? Regardless of what happens, I'm not going to be like, yes, I knew it. Whatever happens, I'm going to enjoy this up to WrestleMania. And
just be a fan. But
exactly,
it's like that voice in your head. I get what you're saying, because with anything, it's like, are we going to see another change, or is this just at least going to keep building to another swerve? But at the end of the day, it's just about being fans, enjoying the process and what happens. It's fun to have our theories and be passionate. That's nothing wrong with that either. It's just that's what we do. That's why these podcasts are what they're about, man. Why BenNy's been such a juggernaut for a long time, and I'm just happy to join the ride.
Mate, I appreciate you coming on and changing, and
you're welcome.
Always helping me out, man. I appreciate it, and This has been an hour and 45 minutes almost of conversation about wrestling. I much appreciate it.
And it goes by so fast, even though it has been lengthy and it's been some time, like you pointed out. It actually goes by fast, much like the day sometimes. It's just like you could talk an hour or two and not realize it. Oh, wait, we have. It's been that long.
It's been that long. Well, actually, we've been talking a bit longer because we're talking off air. If you look at the old ticker on Skype there,
well,
we've been talking for a while.
Yeah, we've actually off air, folks, and you've seen the teasers for the side rants that, me and Benny will often talk, more extended time. It's like the extended cuts.
Yes, yeah. No, I get that 100%. Before we go then, Tyler, as per usual, where can we find you, what you're up to, and where can we follow some of your pods and, where you're at, basically, what you're doing with your individual creating content is what I'm trying to say. I'm not with it today.
Well, no, I appreciate it, Benny. I get what you were saying. You can find me at Dustin Tyler 86 on Twitter. Also find me on the Rewind Wrestling Radio podcast. Also on Back When with Scottish Danny. Also on the SJP World Media Network, and also In the Corner with yours truly, Benny Mac. And when he has me on, you can find me on here, this great program. Also, the Uncensored Wrestling podcast titled The Attitude Years, looking back at the old Monday Night Raws, Raw as War, and the pay-per-views and everything, and Standing Strong with Waylon Myers as well. So there's plenty I'm doing. Also Wrestle Buddy, Geek Buddy, among other things. So, just blessed to have these opportunities, and that's my plugs. I hopefully got everybody, and I think I actually remember this time.
I try and remember all the shows are on the network, mate, so don't worry about it. You can find myself at Benny Mac, BennyMack on Twitter. That's my personal stuff. Some other stuff going on there occasionally when I can. Time has been a bit lax lately, hence why these shows aren't, they're still coming out hopefully once a week. I want to go back to twice a week. I love doing that, but I will get back to that as soon as I can. But you can follow this show, more importantly, at In the Corner WWE, and you can follow all the other shows at SGP World Media on Twitter. There's Chain Wrestling. There's Back When, as Tyler has already mentioned, the Doctor Who pod, the WCW Nitro Nights, Murder in Minds, RSH, regularly scheduled Hostilities as well every Wednesday. And hopefully soon we are going to be, I think Doctor Who pod is taking a bit of a break, and the Waiting Room Quantum Leap podcast is going to be picked up in that little slot for a little while. And, we're going to be talking more Quantum Leap, me and Si. So, just keep it locked to SJP World Media is what I'm getting at. Tyler, thank you very much, buddy. Very much appreciate you.
That's great. Hey, you're very welcome anytime.
And we'll see you all. Hopefully there might be a bonus podcast out. I always say that. Keep an eye out. Give a subscribe. Give it a look. If not, we'll see you next week for some more In the Corner. See you soon.